our agenda, and I apologize. I have misplaced it. There it is. Okay. Let's see. What committee members are here? Myself, Caroline, Gailey, and is Chuck in there?
He's not here yet.
No? Okay. Are we expecting him?
Yes.
Okay. We'll give him a moment. And how about Travis?
No.
No Travis. Okay.
You do have a quorum if you want to get started.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be best. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the special design review committee. Oh my goodness. Design Review Committee meeting to order for Wednesday, June 14th, 2022. And we will begin with roll call.
Councilmember Banducci?
Here.
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Ellsworth? Councilmember Price? Here. Councilmember Schneider? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item B, public hearings, no continued or rescheduled. So that takes us to item B.2, which is new public hearings. And the first one on the agenda is Link Multi-Family Housing at Sunny and Myrtle Avenue. This is design review application DR 21-0001, and this is a modification. The recommendation is to hold a public hearing, adopt a resolution approving with conditions, and Kristen will walk us through the project.
Chairman, good morning, committee members. Thank you for making time for a special meeting to review the modifications to the road projects, since we're on a fast track for to be able to apply for some funding by the end of this month. So first we're going to talk about the project at Sunny and Myrtle Avenue. The site is located on the east side of Eureka, and zooming a little closer, you can see it's located on Second Gulch, on the south side of Myrtle Avenue, at the intersection with Sunny Avenue. The site is surrounded by single and multi-family residences, including a senior living facility and a commercial restaurant and cafe, along with a hair salon and a gas station. It is a freshwater emergent wetland located both north across Myrtle Avenue and south of the site. In February of 2021, the Design Review Committee conditionally approved Link Housing's design review for a 5-story, 70-foot-tall multi-family apartment building. Link is now proposing a shorter building with a new facade. The modified building will be reduced from 5 to 4 stories, and the overall height will be reduced from 70 to approximately 48 feet. Because the maximum height allowed in the neighborhood commercial zone district where the site is located is 45 feet, Link will continue to utilize the automatic height increase afforded by state and local density bonus law. As As you may remember, one of the design standards in design code prohibits blank walls larger than 10 feet by 10 feet on the exterior of the structure. The modification continues to propose blank walls, and we will continue to utilize the original density bonus waiver for blank walls. The building footprint is also being reduced, and an outdoor fenced top lot and a courtyard will be added. All applicable conditions from the original approval are still included, along with the new condition requiring submittal of a landscape plan of the building permit, and that landscape plan has to conform with the requirements of the zoning code. Based on the discussion in your staff report, staff is asking you to hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution to conditionally approve the application, and we do have a suggested motion when we're ready.
Thank you, Kristen. We'll begin with questions from the committee to city staff.
Kristen, what were those height regulations again? You cut out when you were saying that information.
So that is the commercial zone district. The height limit is 45 feet. The building is proposed at 48 feet approximately. And the state municipal bonus law allows an automatic increase of 33 feet or 3 stories, so they won't utilize that allowance.
So what is the final height?
Approximately 48 feet.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I'll ask a question because even though I know we can't talk about parking, what is the required parking for that site?
The requirements for parking for that site would actually be zero.
Well, per the zoning?
Yes.
Zoning code? Okay.
Yes. Pretty well based on the type of development that's proposed, with units being 100% affordable to folks earning 80% or less than income and one manager's unit. The parking requirement is exempt, actually, so there is no parking required on the site. We are proposing to provide 3 uncovered parking spaces.
Thanks, Kristen. Chuck's still not there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I can see the image properly. All right. Does the committee have questions for the applicant before I open up to the public hearing? Hearing, seeing none? Okay. I will open this up for a public hearing, and we like to limit all comments to 3 minutes per person. You'll state your name and address for the record, and we'll begin with folks on the call. I see, Thomas, you had your hand up first.
Thank you. And thank you for coming back to the Design Review Committee and for Design Review for hearing this today. I continue to support this design in its new modified form. I think it actually better mirrors the kind of Victorian seaport architecture that is so beloved here in Eureka. I think it's a great design fit for the neighborhood. We've seen the project be downsized slightly because of kind of the realities of grant funding. And so for the folks who had concerns about kind of the size of the project and neighborhood fit, it's better now perhaps than it was then. So the new design also reduces building costs, and it ensures the project is going to be more competitive as it pursues grant funding. These kind of projects are reliant on grant funding to be able to support low-income housing. So I think that the new design is great to better enable us to actually successfully pursue these statewide grants. The new design also allows for better solar development for the buildings. And again, the amount of solar that we can produce for the buildings, not only is going to be good for our environment and reducing greenhouse gas emissions associated with energy production, but again, it's also going to help increase our likelihood of competitive grant funding. So I am very appreciative to Link for coming back and having another very thoughtful design, and I urge the committee to approve the project.
Thank you, Thomas. All right, Colin?
Thanks. So this is Colin Fisk with CRTP, the Coalition for Responsible Transportation Priorities, and I guess I'll just echo what Tom said. I think we're all a little disappointed that the state didn't provide the grant funding the first time around, and I'm really hopeful that it'll work out this time around, and that the new design will help with that. And it's just so important for us to get these affordable and climate friendly housing units built in the city, and I think this new design will help to do that, make it more competitive for the funding. So hope that you'll approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Anyone else on the Zoom call? You could raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone in the council chambers this morning?
There is not.
Okay. We did have some emails that were received by city staff. Kristen, do we need to read through those publicly, or?
That's up to the committee.
Okay. Do I do that, or is that something staff does?
I don't remember for I apologize.
I do here. Should it?
Again, it's up to you.
Okay.
All this says that if they say comments, then you're not valid, but they are part of the record.
Okay. I guess I'll read them here for Caroline and Gailey to hear. So one is from Matt Clements, received on June 9th. He says, I'd like to object to the proposed housing development on the corner of 6th and M. Oops, wrong project, sorry. I guess I can come back to that. Sorry. Here's the one for Sunny and Myrtle. It's from Jill Ross from Bay Street. I noticed the sign located at Sunny and Myrtle. No real information was given on the sign. With much public disgust, the city of Eureka has proposed to put housing in many city parking lots. My concern with this lot, not a complete sentence. Why did city put a parking lot here in the first place? If the lot was required for additional parking for the apartments across the street, then the necessary parking spots for those apartments needs to remain intact. There are two businesses located next to this lot. The required parking for these businesses must remain intact. This means that should an apartment building be built, the tenants may not use the parking spaces for the other apartments or the commercial business. Violations should be constantly monitored and towed. The city of Eureka has required parking when housing is built and then purchased the extra parking. I do not know why the city has done this in the past. The city should also be prepared to pay the commercial businesses should there be a loss of income from pre-pandemic rates. Having a business next to low-income housing will almost certainly cause problems from theft and vandalism to loss of customer base not wanting to deal with theft and vandalism. Signed, Jill Ross. The second comment here is from Mr. Zerlang. I am pleased that the original plan for this parcel has been modified. I have not seen the modification, but I am told it is now a 4-story building. I am sure the new plan is better, but to me seems like overkill in the neighborhood that is very high trafficked at best. It is not fair that after my efforts to have a nice apartment in the area with adequate sized parking, that a high-rise multi-unit low-cost structure with inadequate parking be built across the street. It is my opinion that the city of Eureka has sold out to the pressure of more housing at all costs. I am sure I am wasting time writing this, but I feel it is important that you know I disagree and have lost more faith in our chosen leaders. So those are the two comments received for Sunny and Myrtle. Anything else? Any further public comment from anyone on the call? Okay, hearing and seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Bring it back to the committee for further discussion. Gailey, Caroline. I think that the new proposed design is much better than the one that we previously approved. I really like this modification, and that it's a shorter, a much shorter building than originally proposed as well. I'm not as concerned about the parking as other comments have come in. I drove by what was once the downtowner, which is now like the lodge at Eureka. I see that huge parking lot, highly underutilized, and so anticipate that this would be similar use in nature. So, but sticking to the design and the modification that's before us today, I think that it has very good aesthetic and is much more toned down from the original.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Everything.
And I agree with you too, Cassidy. I think it's great. I am concerned about the parking. That's my big concern, but we don't have any say in it. So, but I do think the building looks 1,000 times better.
Yeah. And I'm not concerned about the blank space on the wall. I think it's a welcomed break in the facade from all the fenestration. So I'm fine with those conditions. All right, any further comments?
No, I agree with you. I'm glad that the committee stood firm and asked Link to reconsider the height of the project, and this is far superior, and I appreciate them listening to us.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Okay, I'll move the Design Review Committee adopt a resolution to conditionally approve design review modification for the Link multifamily housing, Sunny and Myrtle Avenues project.
Thank you, Gailey. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Caroline. We have a motion and a second, and the committee will vote.
Committee Member Price?
Aye.
Committee Member Bryan?
Aye.
Chairwoman Monducci?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. It takes us to our next item on the agenda. Let me get back to it. Item B2B, Link Multifamily Housing at 8th and G Street. This is at the northwest corner of 8th and G. Design Review Application DR21-0002. This is again a modification. And the recommendation is to hold a public hearing, adopt a resolution approving with conditions, and Kristen will again run us through the project.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning again. This is the project, as has been mentioned, located at 8th and G Streets. Excuse me. The site is located in the northern part of the city, on the southern edge of the commercial area, on the northeast corner of 8th and G Streets. The site is surrounded by both residential and commercial uses, including single and high-density multifamily residences, offices, auto sales and service, the Eureka Inn, and other commercial and retail services. Again, in February of 2021, the design review committee conditionally approved Link Housing's design for review of a 6-story, 70-foot tall multifamily apartment building. Link is now proposing a shorter building with a new facade. The modified building will be reduced from 6 to 4 stories, and the overall height will be reduced from 70 feet to approximately 48 feet. As mentioned in the previous presentation, one of the design standards is anything prohibits bulk walls larger than 10 feet by 10 feet on the exterior of the structure. The modification continues to propose a few bulk walls, and we will continue to use the original density bonus waiver for bulk walls. The building footprint is also being reduced, and and an outdoor fenced top lot and an outdoor courtyard will be added here too. All applicable conditions for the original approval are still included, along with the condition requiring submittal of a landscape plan, along with the building permit application, which conforms with the requirements of the zoning code. Based on the discussion in your staff report, staff is asking you to hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution to conditionally approve the application, and I have a suggested motion when I'm ready.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, we'll begin with questions from the committee to city staff. None? Okay, questions for the applicant on this one? All right, I will open up the public hearing again. We limit all the comments to 3 minutes per person, and you'll state your name and address for the record. We'll begin with Thomas.
I won't take long. I'll just say, kind of ditto to all the things I've previously said. It also applies to this development here. Again, thank you to Link for making the modifications. I think that they are good and that they're in line with the character of the neighborhood.
Thank you, Thomas. Colin?
Thanks. I also want to just reiterate my previous comments, and I'll just say I have pretty much the same problems with the next one, so I'll just refrain from that and not waste your time, but thank you for considering this.
Thank you, Colin. Oh, I see a chat. Okay. Anybody else on the call? I assume, did anybody else enter the council chambers since we last opened up the public hearing? No? Okay. All right. And then the emails.
No comments about the specific site.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Last chance for anyone on the call. Okay, I will close the public hearing. Any further discussion from the committee?
I think that this particular design is especially good in this location. I think it enhances the buildings around it, and I think that we should move forward with this.
Yeah, I agree, Gailey.
Yeah, I agree too.
I specifically really enjoy these facades on this one, in this location specifically. Yeah.
Probably, Cassidy, it's particularly good for this location.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll do this one. I move the Design Review Committee adopt a resolution to conditionally approve design review modification for the Link multifamily housing located at 8th and G Street project. Do we have a second? Thank you, Gailey. We have a motion and a second, and the committee will vote.
Councilmember Price? Thanks, Carolyn. Councilmember Browning?
Aye.
Chairman Bondici?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Item C, Link multifamily housing located at 6th and M, design review application DR 210003. This is again a modification, and the recommendation is to hold a public hearing and adopt a resolution approving with conditions. Kristen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our final project today is located at 6th and M Streets. The site is located again in the northern part of the city on the south edge of the commercial area. And it's on the northwest corner of 6th and M Streets. And the site is surrounded by both residential and commercial uses, including several multifamily residences, as well as professional offices, civic institutions, and other commercial and retail services. In February of 2021, the county conditionally approved the design review for a 6-story tall multifamily apartment building, and Link is now proposing a shorter building again with a new facade. The roof of the building will be reduced from 6 stories to 4 stories, and the overall height will be reduced from feet to approximately 48 feet. As mentioned in our previous presentation, one of the design standards is zone curb prohibits bank walls larger than 10 by 10 feet on the exterior of the structure, and the modification continues to propose a few bank walls. We will continue to utilize the original density bonus waiver for bank walls for the project, and the building footprint is also being reduced, and the fenced outlet and the outdoor courtyard will be added to this location also. All applicable conditions from the original approval are still included. Again, allowing the only condition requiring a landscape plan which conforms with the requirements of the zoning code. And based on the discussion in our staff report, staff is asking you to hold the public hearing and adopt a resolution to conditionally approve the application, and I will now suggested motion when you're ready.
Thank you, Kristen. Committee questions for staff? Okay, hearing. Oh, Caroline, you're muted. I can see you talking, I think. Yeah?
Switching it the wrong way.
There you go.
Okay, this is again about parking, because I think we got a letter about the parking. We're taking away a parking lot, a city-owned parking lot that is used, I think, I don't know if it's 100% used every day, but I know it's used for my driving by, and it's down there, a lot of employee workers park there. So that's going to be displaced. All the parking there is displaced, and then there's no parking with this building either, right? I know we can't talk about parking, but it is a issue that I just want to bring up. It is how many spaces are there now? Maybe I should start that way. How many spaces are in that parking lot now?
Off the top of my head, I would say roughly between 20 and 30, but don't hold me to that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking also. So, do any city employees park down there too for overflow from City Hall?
It's possible, the way where everybody parks.
Okay. I'm just concerned about obviously I'm concerned about taking away 30 parking spaces and then adding 30 units and no parking. And I know we can't talk. I know it's not part of design review. I'm just asking.
This is Principal Planner Kenyon. Our Public Works Department has been tracking parking all throughout the downtown area, and this is an area that has a lot of unutilized parking spaces, particularly on-street parking. So this is an area where we're not so concerned about this project resulting in people not being able to find parking overall.
Excuse me. It's 2-hour parking all around there, right?
It's not if you just walk a block or two in different directions.
Okay. Well, I'm fine with walking a block or two, but at night, when we do daylight savings, or when all of a sudden it's dark at 5 o'clock and you're leaving work, and now you've got to walk 2 blocks in the dark. I'm just concerned for people's safety, personal safety.
Yeah, I do it here. I'll park a few blocks away and sometimes walk at night. And there are ample streetlights around here, so I never feel unsafe. But I understand if people do, and that's something that we're working on as a city. But I think having more people in the area is going to help with that too. Like long-term overnight residents.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristen. Any other comments, questions?
I have a comment. I find this third project for that area pretty blocky and squared off and not nearly as charming as the other two projects.
Do you have suggestions?
The only thing that keeps it from being a complete rectangle is the front facades where they go above the roof line. I don't think there's enough attention to detail in terms of it's so squared off everywhere. And in that area, it just seems so almost just not charming. It's very Victorian architecture can be so interesting, and this is so utilitarian and not in a good way.
Yeah, I'm just so I have a better understanding of where you might be going with this, because it is very similar to Myrtle and Sunny, in its shape and form.
Okay, so
I guess I'm not quite understanding.
let me go back to Myrtle and Sunny and look at that for a second.
It's either these were the ones that were twins that you asked to be cousins, and
Right.
it appears that they are cousins. While you're looking at that, I think it's a huge improvement from what was approved previously, and I think at that time we all kind of felt like our hands were tied to what was being presented, and I think that these options are much more clean. But so I'd like to kind of understand the comments you're making about 6th and M in comparison to what we approved for Sunny and Myrtle.
Well, I think 6 and M was the best design of all three. I think the Sunny and Myrtle, because of its location, is more harmonious. When I look at this 6 and M, because it's very, has the possibility of, there's a lot more going on in 6 and M Street and the surrounding areas, I feel that it's just so blocky. I wish they could do something different with the roof line, for starters.
Okay. I see this area as a little bit more commercial in nature, so so I was just trying to dig into the comments a little bit more to understand where you're going with it. So it seemed appropriate in my eyes, but so thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions of city staff or of the applicant? Do we want to ask these questions of the applicant? What the opportunities might be here, or you good with our discussion, Gilly? Sorry, I'm looking at you.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
If the applicant wishes to discuss, that's fine.
Okay. Link, are you someone on the call willing to take that one on?
Cecilia here.
Hi, Cecilia.
Nice to see you again. I'd like to have Zach Mota speak to it. From Via Architects, they designed the elevation. They could talk about the intricate details that we included in the design.
Sure, and maybe it would be helpful if I just started by describing some of the differences between the 6 and M site and the Myrtle and Sunny site, just because I know that they can be a little hard to see at times. So in addition to the obvious change, which is a color shift, the 6 6th and M site has a darker tonality at its base and a lighter tone for the top 3 floors. And the Sunny and Myrtle site is the opposite, where we've done something slightly lighter at the base in tone and darker at the upper floors. The other main difference between the 2 sites is how they meet the sky and how the top of the building is articulated. Both buildings, I think, have rich detailing and a rich cornice that's being articulated, but the bay windows on 6th and M are held in line with the top of the parapet and cornice line, and on Sunny and Myrtle, they're set down. If I'm understanding your comments maybe correctly, there might be an interest in almost flipping that relationship based on the context, where maybe the Sunny and Myrtle has the bay windows which extend all the way up to the parapet cap, and maybe on the 6th and M site they should be stepped down, just as a potential solution to addressing your comments.
So you're suggesting switching the roof lines on Sunny and Myrtle and 6 and M?
Or handling them in the same way to address your comment.
I'm just going to throw this out here. I don't know if that's necessarily like the solution here, but or if that's necessary. They're just looking for. Oh, sorry. Austin?
Just going to say, I have already taken action on this, so that's it.
Right. So really just, we need to focus on 6 and M. So, if we need more articulation versus less articulation, we need to focus on the facade here at 6 and M. What's the depth of the bay windows?
I believe they're relatively shallow. I believe I want to say they're 18 inches.
Okay. So you're going to get some push and pull on the facade.
Some push and pull.
Yeah.
There's the 18-inch push and, let's just call it the bay window, like the major minor push and pull. Mm-hmm. And then there's the more fine articulation push and pull, maybe one step back. That's the paneling within the cornice line and in the bay window. And then the last level of texture would just be from the lap siding that is creating the building facade. So there's sort of those 3 levels of articulation going on. Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, sort of at the base, just the way we're handling sort of the larger windows, the entryways are in different locations as well and have some highlighted articulation around them.
Okay. Caroline, did you have any comments, questions?
No.
No? Okay. Gailey, did you have any further comments or questions for the applicant?
Yes, just give me a minute. I'm sitting here sketching, doing a few things. I'm thinking that maybe that roof line on the 6 and M, let me get back to it. Very front of the building, instead of being squared off like that, maybe we want it to go to a point like some Victorian architecture does. Or maybe a more of a mansard look. Pretty blocky. What if you did a mansard top there instead of the straight across?
Don't you think that would take away from the one that's over at
Sunny and Myrtle?
No, it would take away from the one over by Eureka Inn.
Yeah.
I think that one's like important to be pretty distinctly different. I mean, we're looking at like the old Time Standard building, the title company building, the old flat, vertical, mid-century structures in there, and then you got City Hall And the site context, I think is appropriate for the elevations that are presented, but the residential structures, vary to the east. I'm just looking at it from Google Earth here to refresh my memory, but
Doing that earlier.
okay. Are we okay if I open up to public?
Sure.
Hearing? Okay. At this point in time, I'll open up for a public hearing. Again, 3 minutes per person, and I believe we have one. Yes, we have, one email that we received as well. So please raise your hand if you're on the call. And Colin, we'll begin with you.
So I said I wouldn't speak on this one, but I just wanted to raise one quick issue as you're discussing the roof line, which is just to reiterate the importance of ensuring that there was enough space for adequate solar panels up there, which is important for both environmental reasons, obviously, and also for the funding source. So thank you.
Thank you, Colin, for that reminder. Anyone else on the Zoom call? Okay, seeing no chat, no hand raised, I will, I'll read the email that was received on June 9th from Matt Clements. States, I'd like to object to the proposed housing development on the corner of 6th and M on the grounds that the lot is at or near 100% capacity during normal business hours. I'm staring at it right this second, and there are 0 spots available. Some of the other proposed building sites are truly underutilized. This one is far from it. Low-income housing is important. I support it. But this is not the right spot. Many local agencies and small businesses rely on that lot for reasonably safe, free parking. Not trying to get all NIMBY with it, but let's find a more sensible place with less daily demand for more low-income housing. Thanks, Matt Clements. And I believe that's the only email that was received by city staff on this specific site.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Anybody else joined us in the audience in the council chambers? Okay, very good. Any further comments on the call? All right, I will close the public hearing. Bring it back to the committee for further discussion. And Kristen, if you wouldn't mind sharing the suggested motion. Thank you. Kaylee, any other thoughts on this one?
I'm really on the fence on this one.
Okay. Caroline, anything from you?
No. I think it looks great. Much better than the previous plan.
Yeah. The previous, yes. Yeah.
It's almost shocking.
I know. Yeah. I do think that it's a huge improvement from what was previously approved.
I think it's an improvement also. I just think it could be better. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Caroline?
Do you want me to? Okay, so I'll move that the Design Review Committee adopt a resolution to conditionally approve design review modification for the Link Multifamily Housing 6 and M Street project.
Thank you, Caroline. I'll second that motion. And we have a motion and a second, and the committee will vote.
Committee Member Price?
Aye.
Committee Member Browning?
Aye.
Chairwoman Bonducci?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you, Jessica. All right. Thank you to everyone who's been on the call and for the comments, questions. It's a good discussion today. That takes us to item C, oral communications. This section of the meeting provides committee members and the public an opportunity to address the Design Review Committee on any subject not appearing on the agenda. Any comments today? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Good luck with the funding.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.